Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Jack Fisher. Obviously, I'm a close to a lifelong resident of Imperial Beach. I moved here in 1975 with my family. Grew up attending Bayside Elementary, Mar Vista Middle School, Mar Vista High. I didn't graduate, so I don't want that thrown in my face coming down the road. I did graduate from Hilltop. I currently living here, been married for 17 years to my sweet wife. We have 5 children, and I currently work as a pastry chef. Part of the reason I'm running for mayor is because I have a vision of what Imperial Beach should be like. And I also have the stamina, the integrity, and the ability to make those things happen. I've talked to many of my residents around me, many of my friends who have lived in the city just as long as I have, and they have all said mixed things to me. Some of them are for redevelopment, some of them are for not. Some of them don't want us to be in South Coronado, some of us don't really know what they want. For me, I would embrace the fact to be this Coronado of the style. We have much better surfing, the people are much better, but I want to emphasize the importance of controlling our redevelopment. And that is one of the keys. Many of the residents still will not acknowledge the fact that our city will have redevelopment projects going on. I personally live 20 feet from the largest development that's going to happen in Imperial Beach. I live right behind the Miracle Mile Shopping Center. I'm not very excited to have 40-foot buildings next to my house. I'm not excited to see dust and bulldozers, and I don't even know how many people will be working on the project. However, I've come to the realization that this is something that is necessary. And going forward with that, we also need to make sure it's managed properly. To make sure that the citizens who have the greatest concern within a 2-block period, that they're notified of what's going on, that they are informed when things are going to be happening. To this point, we haven't seen much of that, and maybe there's nothing to say. I'm not particularly sure when the construction is going to start. But I encourage small business, just like Mike Bibby, I'm sure he doesn't really remember me, but he was an umpire and I was a catcher. Derek Fernandez played on the same baseball team as I. And so it's kind of neat to be here with the same people. But we really need to encourage the small businesses. In Coronado, if you go down Orange Avenue, it's lined with businesses. All of them are small businesses. Very few businesses are much over 2,000 square feet. And that's what I want to see. I want more business to come here. The key to having those businesses here is to increase our tourism. It doesn't matter how many businesses we put up if they just fold a few short months or years later. We need to increase the tourism. And I want to do that by making the image of the city better. Now, growing up here surfing, I always heard how dirty the water is. Well, it's kind of funny because our neighbors to the north enjoy the same water that we do, especially when the South Falls come. And they don't suffer from the same image problem as we have. It's been taken care of. Our city officials and our governmental officials have done that. They've put in treatment plants to help us monitor the water. The other thing I'd like to do is talk about and accomplish is financial stability. Our city has maintained different levels over the years. And I took this off the city website and I said in 1956, the city budget for their first year provided a total revenue of $102,864, which included expenses of $52,984, with a surplus of $49,908. I want us to get back to that point where the city is dead. I'm going to end by quoting one of my favorite people, Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. As most of you would know, I'm probably not going to speak for the full 5 minutes. This is an introductory period. I have been the mayor of Imperial Beach for 4 years. I served for 4 years as city council just prior to that. I do believe experience counts in these things. City government under the manager-council form is very complicated. To me, it's very frustrating. I'm sure Mr. Brown realizes that once in a while. But, you know, the city of Imperial Beach is unique. We're down here at the very end, actually we call it California Starts here. But we seem to do very well with very little. And I think over the years, we've come to expect that. When Mr. Fisher mentioned budgets, and I don't remember what the budget was in '56, The council, along with the city staff, the last 2-year budget cycle that we finished, we did have a surplus. We put about 50% of that back into the community in the form of things like skate parks and other park recreations. We put the other away for future problems. We have to deal with the state budgets, calories for pensions, but we seem to do very well at that. And the redevelopment agency, once again, sometimes a disappointment. We can only take on so many projects at a time. Right now, you've seen it, the Seacoast Inn down the street, Miracle Mile, next to this Fisher's house. Those are the things we're really concentrating on, but there's a lot more going on that we have to kind of just build on in the future. Some people have seen drawings for the American Legion project. That's partnering with our low-mod housing money. It's some money that we have in the redevelopment that has to go to certain things. And with the veterans down there at the American Legion, they see an opportunity to bring something that really be nice at one of our gateways. And, Mr. Brown mentioned a commercial zoning. For Chamber of Commerce here, we've been working on that commercial zoning plan now for over a year. And what that was intended to do was to make it so that some of these empty properties, some of the properties that are a little older could redevelop, but not be constrained by such things as outlandish parking requirements, and to try to incentivize the concept of doing good retail, at least on the bottom floor. A lot of it has to do with the commercial quarter down on Palm. We're only limited. We can't put so much business in our town that they all fail, because there's only so many of us that live here. We can only absorb so many tourists. So the idea that the whole Palm Avenue corridor would be massive shopping centers that just never work, it already doesn't fail. But to change our zoning so that we can facilitate the quality development, I think it is. And I think that from a chamber standpoint, if you would get out there when they have those community meetings and express your desires for what you think the zoning should look like, not just on the Palm Avenue, along Seacoast, not as much on Seacoast perhaps, but we have to see what we can do to facilitate some of those people redeveloping what we have here in our town. And then, one of the things that we've seemed to find that we have to partner with people here in Imperial Beach. We partner with the school districts, we partner with the county, the Port of San Diego, our neighbors to the north, our neighbors to the east, our neighbors all over us, including Mexico. I think those are the type of things that can kind of leverage the potential that we have here in Imperial Beach. Working with the school districts, both school districts, we're trying to bring forward a concept of maybe just a few tennis courts. They have the land, the redevelopment agency might have the capital money to put that in, but the school districts, in cooperation with both of them, we hope to bring something like that forward. And with the county, one of the things that just came up more recently is that we've got a library that's 40 years old, and with the help of our county supervisor, the county, and hopefully some people that can go out and raise some funds, we can expand that, make it a community hub. Because libraries, contrary to what people think with the internet, are very busy. The times I've been to the one here, it's really packed. There's a lot of people using it. And those are the type of amenities that we want to hopefully bring forward to Imperial Beach. And not to forget, little things that the city staff is able to do behind the scenes, but when it comes forward, we really take pride in. Some of you know the corner of 13th and Iris down by the military base. Cooperation of AT&T, the city staff, that little market down there, is going to house a cell site. But it's going to be a clock tower. It's not going to be a phony palm tree. It's not going to be a phony light pole. It's going to be a clock tower. That's something great, because you and I know that area of town really would never get any real investment. But because somebody desired something, the cell tower, they really would come forward with something that really looked good. I have to Thank you very much. Hope you all